Hello, my name is Mick Bono, and I'm a product manager, a product growth expert, and go-to-market strategist. I'm also founder of Go-to-Market Institute, and our mission is to empower entrepreneurs, product teams, and go-to-market teams with strategies and tactics to build, market, and grow great products. Today, I would like to talk to you about 3 ways that product growth teams are different from traditional product teams. I have been in the product growth business for about 7 to 8 years right now, and I was one of the first who wrote a book on the product-led go-to-market strategy back in 2017, where we talked about strategies and ways of implementing product-led go-to-market strategies. But right now, there's a lot of product growth teams. There's a lot of organizations that have product growth teams, but how they are different. Especially, it is important that people that you hire for those product teams in the product capacity or in the engineering leading capacity understand 3 ways that product growth teams are different from traditional teams. Number 1, product growth teams have flexible roadmaps. Right now, flexible roadmaps might be impressed by some of the other traditional teams, but a lot of the time we're still at least planning for the quarterly planning or for some annual roadmap, or at least directionally where we want to be or what kind of things we want to work on. For the growth team, it's more important to be flexible in the roadmaps. Why so? It's because very often there's going to be market conditions that will change that you want to react quickly. You're going to run some tests that are going to provide some insight that sometimes going to uncover some potential opportunities. Every time you think about product growth teams and the roadmap around it, make sure it's flexible. I really like a very simple approach to product roadmaps when it comes to growth teams is just think about to plan carefully. Actually, let me step back. Plan directionally what kind of things do you want to impact in terms of values and delivers and OKRs and KPIs for the quarter. For example, we want to increase conversion rate. We want to improve the number of activations inside of the product, or we want to drive the engagement in our nurturing and onboarding emails that we have that brings customers back to the product. Now, this high level direction wise will then transform into some ideas on how we want to achieve that. But when it comes to actual specifics, make sure that you plan about 2 sprints in front, where you know exactly what you want to test, you want exactly what you want to do, and then somewhat be about 80 to 50% sure about what you want to do 2 sprints afterwards, and then keep the next sprints the next 2 sprints a little bit more flexible. So this way you have enough flexibility to change depending on the learning, depending on the market conditions. And I have to say, this is one of the most important things to understand for those who want to transition from traditional product teams, or who want to, as an engineer, transition into high-paced and actually quite interesting environment with that has a lot of learnings and has a lot of testing. So number 1, make sure your roadmaps are very flexible. Number 2, product growth teams do a lot of throwaway work, and there's a lot of trade-offs. What I mean by that is very often you think about, as a product growth team, you'll think about, okay, we want to test this idea, but we have 2 options. We can do a sort of a very quick and dirty solution that's not going to be perfect, but we can do it in 2 weeks and we can test it out. Or we can build something that is more durable, a better, high quality, but it's going to take us 3 months. In product growth teams, you want to optimize for speed and velocity of learning. Therefore, you want to select often solution that is not ideal and not perfect. This solution will be tested, and if it succeeds, it will have to be rebuilt, and it's extra additional work. And if it fails, all of that was a throwaway work. So this type of work environment is not for everybody, and it's important to understand that a lot of the times product growth teams have this trade-off. You're going to do a lot of throwaway work, and you're going to have a lot of rebuilding and redoing and optimizing of already existing work that, experience that have been tested that actually work. That's something that's very, very important to understand, and this is what differentiates between traditional product teams and the growth product teams. Number 3, this is going to be a little bit counterintuitive, but let's be with me here. Product growth teams take more qualitative bets than traditional PM teams. What it means is that sometimes you're going to have some hypotheses about what metric they want to drive, what are the customer experience will work in this particular case, and you're not going to have a lot of data. If your data by itself is showing you the strategy you had yesterday, if you are relying too much on the completely new ideas based on the data on the back strategy, it's not going to get you far, because you're not going to predict, or you're not going to be able to forecast, and you're not going to know what works. So a lot of the times, product growth team will have to have qualitative decisions, meaning that what if we change this step? We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if we have any data to support this hypothesis, but we're going to test it anyway. We're going to see if this works, and if it does, you're going to reap the benefit. Quite often is some things that you're going to be tested are going to outperform your any expectations, right? Going back to the first thing, keeping your flexible roadmaps, and going back to number 2, where we talked about there's a lot of throwaway work. Very, very successful product growth team at a mature companies fail 80, 85, 90, 95%, because they've been testing this experience for a long, long time. They invested a lot of years in improving and optimizing this experience, and over time it gets more progressively difficult. And that's why in those companies it's completely okay to have 85, 95% of throwaway work. 95% of all the tests can fail. However, those tests that actually succeeded, they will lift you on the next level. So a lot of the stuff that you're going to do in the growth team is going to be throwaway work. Similarly, but not actually similar, but on the other hand, if you're an organization that is a startup that's very early, you haven't done a lot of growth, you might actually experience for a year or two, like 80% of your experiments will succeed, or your 50% of experiments will succeed. It just means that you're not as mature a growth organization, and that's okay. But as much as you're moving to this maturity state, there's going to be more and more tests that's going to fail. So just a quick recap, 3 things that make product growth team different: flexible roadmaps, a lot of throwaway work and trade-offs for optimizing for velocity, and a lot of work that will be based on qualitative decisions that will have to be validated quantitatively, and then decide whether you want to implement it or not. So those are the 3 things it's important to understand, and I hope this was helpful for you guys. Please ask me any questions, like, subscribe, leave any comments and questions below, and I will provide with the answer, and it will help me to figure out what kind of material you guys interested in. Also, a couple of quick announcements. I'm going to be conducting a free webinar on conducting effective customer interviews. It's going to be about an hour and a half, where about 30 to 45 minutes I'll give you step-by-step process of conducting effective customer interviews, from setting, planning, conducting, getting the feedback, summarizing, actionable insights, and so forth. I'll be also hosting a course on effective customer interviews for product managers and entrepreneurs. This is going to take about 4 days. It's going to be 2 weeks. It's going to be Saturday and Sunday, about an hour and a half to 2 hour sessions. On those sessions, we're going to talk very deeply on every single step. We're going to do some exercises, and I'm going to walk you through every single step in conducting customer interviews. And those steps will include exercises, frameworks. I'm going to provide you some templates. And this video below will have a link to sign up for an announcement when this course is going to be live. So thank you, and I hope you found this helpful.